Hi everybody, my name is Huda Queen 94. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am a huge New Orleans Saints fan, as well as a huge NFL fan. And my oh my, what a crazy week one it was. I mean, we had the flood game between the Bears and the 49ers, that crazy AFC North battle between the Bengals and the Steelers, the Dolphins completely obliterating the Patriots, the Colts and the Texans tying, so many different games. Let's see, the way that the Broncos game ended with them trying to kick the field goal instead of, going for it on 4th and 5 with Russell Wilson. And the New Orleans Saints coming back from being down 16 points. I mean, I wish I could talk about all these different games, but I am a Saints fan. I guess it's best to stick to the Saints and what they do best. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's do a little recap of that game. So I do have my computer with me, so if you see me looking down, that's because I'm looking at my computer because I want to get the numbers right. So let's jump into the game. First off, I would really like to apologize about something that I said in my last video about Marcus May. I was under the impression that he was off the team, and I was wrong about that. I guess I just assumed that because of his arrest that, he would be cut. I guess, NFL teams and the NFL is very selective on how they discipline their players. We are clearly witnessing that right now, so my mistake. He's clearly playing for us, and I just wish he wouldn't do, or he wouldn't have done what he did, I'm not opposed to something coming of what he did, because I know at some point something is going to happen to Kamara. They said maybe next season, but I know that something is coming. I mean, I do not condone what he did whatsoever in the offseason. And I know I'm wearing his jersey, which may or may not actually be a Kamara jersey, so I don't condone what he did, and I fully support a suspension, but, I just wish our guys the best and for them not to be stupid in the off season. But my apologies on getting that wrong. Anyway, so sorry about that. So let's talk about the first quarter. Not a lot to really say about the first quarter. The Falcons did score on their opening possession. They scored a field goal, and then we scored a touchdown with Taysom Hill after he got a huge run for 57 yards. And to me, it doesn't really matter what position, Taysom plays, because the truth of the matter is that Taysom Hill is one of the most reliable assets that we have on our team, and I, for one, am happy to have Taysom Hill on the team. Whether he is a quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, linebacker, blocker, kicker, he could be, no offense to Lutz. Taysom Hill is our Swiss Army knife, and I'm so glad, in a way, that the Packers didn't see that potential that he has, because he has been a great asset, and I, for one, am super glad that he's still on the team, whether he's a tight end or quarterback or whatever. So, I don't know, maybe I should get his jersey. But super happy that he still has it, because what Jameis Winston lacks, which is running, Taysom Hill has. And that's not a bad thing. Then I believe, in fact, actually, speaking of Taysom Hill, he was our leading rusher in the game. The Saints also forced a fumble from Pete Warner, which resulted in a field goal attempt that was missed by Lutz. And depending on how you want to look at that, little cause and effect here, or you could see it as that could have been the death of us, just depending on how you want to see it. Now, the second quarter was definitely very different. The Saints looked horrible in the second quarter. They looked lethargic. They looked like The Walking Dead. Pass protection was terrible. Jameis Winston took some sacks that he shouldn't have taken. We didn't protect him very well. Couldn't get anything going, couldn't get a run going. Just really couldn't establish much of anything in the second quarter. And the Falcons took advantage of that because they got us off the field, and that allowed their offense to play it safe, play it smart, which they did the one thing that most teams don't do against the Saints, and they ran the football on us. Now, I'm not that shocked that Mariota was able to run, I believe it might have been 74 yards on us. It's probably in these notes. Because the Saints are not good at protecting, or I'm sorry, stopping running quarterbacks. They've just never been good with read option quarterbacks. They've been dating back like a decade ago with RG3, Colin Kaepernick, those guys. And even last year when we played the Eagles with Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders. I mean, you pair a running quarterback with a great running back. I mean, the Saints just flip out. They don't know how to stop it. I'm a little bit more surprised that Patterson was able to run on us. I didn't actually know that Mariota had the legs for it. But he himself looked pretty good for the most part. And they were just able to take advantage. I believe they had 4 sacks on Winston. I'm not sure we had any on Mariota unless I missed it. But one thing to note, Jameis Winston did not throw interceptions. Just one thing to note. There was that questionable fumble by Pitts, which I don't even think, even if it wasn't in the 2 minutes, that the Saints would have won that anyway. But Cook kicked the field goal to make it a 7-16 game at the half. Sum it up, Falcons pretty much dominated us going into halftime. Now jumping to the third quarter, Olave had his first catch. So that's super exciting. I'm super glad to see him out making plays, and he made quite a few. We'll get into it. Lutz kicked a 49-yard field goal to make it a 6-point game. Falcons would eventually score again with Mariota, pushing the lead to 13. Ingram would end up fumbling the ball. It was kind of a weird pass anyway by Jameis Winston. It was like a little shovel pass, I guess, and Ingram caught it, and he didn't really have control of it. It just popped out, so, Mariota would turn it over as Marcus May, who I mentioned earlier, would push the ball out or pop it out, and it was picked up by Tyrann Mathieu. And I see why the Saints brought him in. Again, I'm not knocking him at all. I was a little confused on, his off-season issues. But the Saints didn't do anything with it. Now we get into the fourth quarter, and this is when things get really, really weird. We're down 16, but I'm not overly concerned. I don't think, I know it's 16 points, but I've seen the Saints come back from 17 points. Not necessarily win, but I know that it can be done. Granted, it was in the Breeze era, but it can be done. So I myself wasn't freaking out. I thought that they scored again, probably over at that point. But, we thought get the ball back, we could make it a one-possession game, which we did. And listen, I don't know what happened to Jameis Winston. I don't know what they gave him. Maybe the same thing that they gave Lamar Jackson in that one game where he said he was cramping, and he came back and he just annihilated the Browns. I'll take his word for it. But maybe they gave him the same thing, because Jameis Winston, who was limping, where there was talks that Andy Dalton was going to go in, Jameis Winston gets on the field, and I think he has 4 straight completions. Boom, 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 touchdown to Michael Thomas. What? Where did this Jameis Winston come from? It was crazy. But then now it's, Olave gets the catch in the end zone to make it, to get the 2-point conversion. So, now we're within 8. So it's what just happened? It's like day and night. We're able to get the Falcons I think it was a 3-and-out. Well, we got him off the field, and then we got back, and we scored another touchdown with Michael Thomas, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here? Unfortunately, we couldn't get the 2-point conversion with a weird play call of Ingram trying to run it in. Just terrible play calling there. What else happened? Okay, so we're down by 2. Still time on the clock, even though we were down by 2. I'm just thinking, let's do it again. Go down and kick the field goal. And so the Falcons were marching down the field. There was a lot of more pass interference call. And then I guess that's when the ball was fumbled with the quarterback center exchange. So they were forced to punt. This is when it gets weird. Winston hit Landry at the 40, so it sets us up nicely. Who, by the way, is the unsung hero, I think, of this game, in my opinion. It's great to see Jarvis Landry, by the way, making some awesome plays. And then Winston has to pull a Winston. I love this guy. He's growing on me, but, I also know that he tends to be very comical, as I mentioned. That's just the way I see it. And so Winston, pull a Winston, intentional grounding, lost 10 seconds, lost it down, but we were able to still kick it with Lutz as he kicks a 51-yard field goal, making it a 1-point game. Now this is when it gets bizarre. Now I believe that there are 19 seconds left, and now, with 19 seconds left, and I think 2 or 3 timeouts, anybody can do something with that. I mean, that's 19 seconds plus your timeouts. All you really need is a chunk play or 2 downfield and then set you up nicely, spike the ball, go and send your kicker out, right? So I was a little concerned about that, but it got bizarre because they ran their plays and then they were stopped because they took the timeout, and I'm thinking, why did you let them run their play? It seemed very weird that the refs were giving them time back on the clock, and giving them almost like extra plays. Like, what do you mean? I mean, call it, stop if they call a timeout, stop the play, Then the clock runs to 0-0, and the game should be over, except they give them 2 seconds because of this supposed timeout that they took, and then it turns out that Lattimore gets himself a 15-yard penalty. So now they send out Koo, who, by the way, is a great kicker. At least I think he is one of their best players. And so he's going to attempt, I think, 63 yards. And I'm thinking, oh, great. This is what, you don't want to have happen. I mean, a good kicker trying for 63 yards, it's like, you don't want to look at it, but you have to, because it's like a train wreck. You want to look away, but you just can't. Luckily for us, it was blocked. What a crazy, crazy way to win a game. I mean, this might just be one of my favorite wins against the Falcons in a very long time. And I hope to remember it for several years. But, I've seen so many NFL games and so many Saints and Falcons games that they eventually end up running together in my mind. And if I'm lucky to remember a few plays, that's cool. I won't probably won't remember what game, but I would hopefully like to remember this one for a very long time. I should have suspected that the Falcons would have choked in Falcons fashion. That's just what they do. Even, I guess it doesn't matter that they have a new quarterback. Falcons are going to do the Falcon. Falcons are going to Falcon it up, I guess. But that was one crazy way to win a football game. I mean, and that's what I missed about Saints football, is that high level of anxiety and, that adrenaline rush. I mean, I wanted to have a smoke, and I don't smoke. So, but I had that level of anxiety. I was throwing pillows. I was like, oh, because I think there was almost an interception. I don't know who it was who could have caught could have caught it and he didn't. It went right through his hands, and I'm like, oh, that's the game right there. You know, we would have avoided that entire mess if he just makes the pick. But crazy game, wild one. I mean, can't wait to play the Falcons again. But we have another game to discuss, and this is the Bucs and the Saints. Now, I hate the Buccaneers more than I hate the Falcons. I know you're supposed to probably hate them equally, but I'm going to be 100% honest. I would rather be honest than to lie. And I hate the Buccaneers because I hate their quarterback, and I've hated their quarterback even before I got into football. And I know that sounds crazy, but it is the truth. And for years and years and years, I hated the Patriots. I still do, by the way. I'm not too fond of them. I don't care if they have Mac Jones. You know what? I still do not like the Patriots. But I hate Tom Brady more. I am a bona fide Tom Brady hater. Haters gonna hate him. Listen, I'm not going to pretend that I don't hate this guy. I hate Tom Brady. And I mean, it's one thing that he was in the AFC and he was with the Patriots, and you know, we don't play them very often, but the audacity that that man has to come to the NFC and then come to the NFC South. I mean, who does he think he is? Man, oh man. Anyway, the Buccaneers are, last I checked, 2.5 favorites to win this game. Now, this is the Saints home game, so I'm a little confused as to why they're 2.5 favorites. I mean, that's a field goal, right? So, listen, I saw that horrendous game between the Buccaneers and the Cowboys, and I wish Dak Prescott a speedy recovery. I truly do. My heart goes out to him. I'm not a Cowboys fan. I do like Dak, so I wish him a speedy recovery. I hope he comes back healthy and well enough to play. With that being said, horrible game. 12 of their 19 points came off field goals. Suckup also missed one. So, you know, there wasn't anything that the Buccaneers did that was really all that impressive that made me think, yeah, they're going to come in and dominate us. Like, what? No. You know, the defense of the Dallas Cowboys were able to get, I think, an interception and several sacks on Tom Brady. Now, we have knowledge of playing the Buccaneers. In fact, we shut them out last year. So I think with Cam Jordan, Demario Davis, you know, that core right there can really do some damage. And if we put a lot of pressure on Brady, he's going to throw these awkward throws where there's a chance for an interception. So I think as long as we get to Tom Brady, then it's going to be really tough for him to make complete passes. My understanding is that Godwin will not be playing in this game. I believe he's week to week. Now, both teams had some pretty significant injuries, a lot of limited in practices, but I do think, from what they've been saying, Chris Godwin is not expected to play in this game. So that's one less guy we have to worry about. I believe they got Russell Gage now, from what I was reading. They have Julio Jones, who I guess is their answer to Antonio Brown. And so this is Julio Jones. This is not some random guy that they got from a team that we don't play very often. This is Julio Jones. So I'm not overly concerned about Julio Jones. Mike Evans and Lattimore, I mean, that is a super bad bromance right there. I mean, 21 Jump Street bromance right there. No love lost between those two. Not overly concerned with Mike Evans. Cameron Brate, not really all that concerned about Cameron Brate. The Saints defend as a tight end pretty well. I mean, we held Pitts to 2 catches for 19 yards. So the one player I would be a little bit concerned about would be Leonard Fournette, just because of what we let Patterson do to us. Tom Brady running all over us. Yeah, okay. I've seen that guy. He looked pretty washed. But maybe that's me being a hater. But anyway, Yeah, I'm not really concerned about Bright. Um, but Fournette I am. We were talking about Fournette, my bad. Late at night. But yes, if the Saints can stop Fournette and stop him at the line and prevent him from getting a big hole from, and running 20, 30, 40 yards downfield, I think we'll be fine. But if we let that happen and put Tom Brady in a position where he's at least in field goal range, I would expect him to score. I mean, I've seen it happen so many times. So it is tough to beat a team 5 times straight in regular season games. Now, not including the ridiculous playoff game. And even then, that was really more the Bucs defense. So, just really, really probably have a game plan for Leonard Fournette, I guess would be my thinking. On the defensive side, can you really say that it was the Bucs defense that slowed the Cowboys down, or just the Cowboys just playing horribly, being super unprepared? I guess it depends on how you want to look at it. It's a little bit concerning. I mean, as long as, look, if we get fourth quarter Jameis Winston and he plays all 4 quarters like that, then we'll probably win the game because he was on point. He played smart. He played confidently. I mean, I didn't see him break a sweat. So it looked natural to him. And I'm so grateful. I mean, I think he had over 260 something yards, I think. And of course, 2 touchdowns, which came, late in the fourth quarter. But still, to have 200 plus yards on the day, Jameis Winston, he is a little, I can see the comparison to him and Breeze. So we get that Jameis Winston. We get cool, calm, collective Jameis Winston playing smart football. And, he has weapons too. I mean, what he did with Jarvis Landry and Olave and Michael Thomas, he has chemistry in Johnson, and put Taysom Hill in the mix. I think we can come up with a really great game plan against the Buccaneers. That's, again, mind you, Jameis Winston turned the ball over against the Falcons, so if he plays cleanly and smoothly, we have a chance. I don't know the situation with Kamara. I know that they signed Latavius Murray to the practice squad, so I'm not exactly sure what the situation is. I don't know if he's going to play or not, but there's another weapon right there. Not only is he a great running back, but he's a great receiver as well. So I'm not going to be boastful. I'm not going to say, oh, we're just going to, annihilate them. It's, we're going to beat them by 10. I don't think that that's going to be the case, in my honest opinion. I think it could be back and forth. I think the Saints maybe should be the 2.5 favorites to win this game. After all, it's a home game, so again, I'm not saying that I'm confident. I'm confident. I just, I don't think that they're going to come in and dominate us. I think, again, as I mentioned, if we get like a 10-point lead on them, I think we, can kind of roll with that and, see what we can do and play smartly with that. But that's my opinion on this game. I think that's all I can really add at this point. So I think that's pretty much it. If you like this video, you can go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If not, that's totally cool. I completely understand. Feel free to subscribe if you'd like to. Tongue twister right there. If not, that's fine. You can follow me on Twitter. I am on Twitter at HoodatQueen94. I always change my name, so right now I'm going under the name not Slant Boy. I wanted to use Slant Boy, but I didn't want to get, a lot of Saints fans telling me that I can't call Michael Thomas Slant Boy. I think it's funny. I think it's an ironic thing, because he's not, clearly, so. But I'm not Slant Boy for right now. Probably be subject to change. I live tweet games on there and ask stupid, dumb fantasy questions because my fantasy teams suck. Thank you, Cam Makers, by the way. Well, maybe thank you, Sean McVay. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. Anyway, so thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Go Saints! Who dat? Let's go Saints. All right.